Prof, in Asin North, as I understand, we deploy 7,000 police personnel, right? I don't know how else to ask the question, because it's you can see my bias already that this is very terrible. I don't feel safe in such a country. I don't know what you think.
Right. Samson, a very good morning to your good self, to the team in studio, and then to our cherished listeners and viewers. You are right, but I agree with the just ended speaker that it is self-inflicted. Ablekuma North with just 6 polling stations, and you see how some tax overpowered the police available. What it meant was that if there was going to be an expanded election like we have at Akwatia, the police would have to, with the lessons learned from Ablekuma, just 6 polling stations, the police would have to quadruple, or if you like, move the entire police service there. So if 6 would lead us to the chaos we saw in Ablekuma, then 120 polling stations will mean that they may need to. I even want to believe that, aside the numbers we are mentioning, they have standby teams ready to be deployed in the event that those who are at the police stations will be overpowered. So it is self-inflicted. They are not going to change anytime soon. The law sometimes deals with them softly, very, very softly sometimes. And so they are not deterred enough, and I'm afraid it is not going to end anytime soon. And then the police would be blamed at the end. So they would want to clear their name this time by increasing the numbers to the numbers we are mentioning. And I have added that I am very, very sure that there will be some teams standby in adjoining constituencies or at the regional head office, ready to move in to beef up the numbers if situations get chaotic. So as much as we are all not happy about.
So what would be your brief prescription? What we should be doing? Because we cannot continue to say these things and throw our hands in despair and say, well, that's what it is. It's getting worse. It won't change, as you are saying. We can't watch the politicians, cause the demise of this state.
Anyway, the prescriptions will come perhaps when the actors, the stakeholders are ready to take them, because there's been many stakeholders who have prescribed very, very interesting solutions to some of these things. But, they will sit in workshops and pretend to have listened to the prescription, but trust me, immediately you leave. Because check the 2024 elections. They went into meeting. They said they were not going to involve the military until necessary. And so one political party, the MPP, precisely says that he took off all his self-trained security men. And before the party realized, the other party has brought in its own tax, who we saw in Obuasi, we saw some tax trying to take over or take possession the gun of the military man. So they simply would listen to when you prescribe, but trust me, when the opportunity comes, they will do worse than you even expected.
Okay, so let's go to this area where you are more comfortable about. The Global Info Analytics projects Bernard Baidu, the NDC's candidate, to secure at least 53%, as against Solomon K. Asumadu of the NPP, 47%. I'm not sure you have done some work in this area as you did in the main election, but what do you see?
Right. So it is a good work. It gives an incursion or an impression of the likely to happen. But the reality, as we all know, would be activities that political parties undertake leading up to the main day, and who has a good day. If all the expected voters should turn out to vote, and the work done by the two political parties gets into its fullness, then we would have the actuals and compare with the predicted. as we all know, this is a sample survey, and it only gives an impression of the possible outcome. When political parties intensify their work and they are able to turn things around, the actuals may differ from the predicted. But if they lose their guard or perhaps throw their research work away, do not act on it, and sit aloof, perhaps the predicted may be confirmed. So it is a good exercise. It gives the stakeholders an impression of what could happen. But again, it gives them opportunity to also work hard. If you are told that you are trailing, then you may need to double up your activities.
Victory in Akwatia for the NDC doesn't make any difference. They already have two-thirds majority, absolute majority in Parliament. They can do any and everything they need to do in Parliament. So why do you think they seem to, be working so hard to get this place as well?
Something it's interesting if anybody thinks that if NDC loses in Akwatia, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't affect. It does affect them big time. All right.
How?
So you are a government who won an election a few months ago overwhelmingly, and it is interpreted to mean that you have the goodwill of the people. If you lose elections 8 months into your goodwill, what it means is that your goodwill is diminishing at a very, very astronomical rate.
How exactly is that for a constituency where the government did not win?
So in by-elections, the lead campaign message, the most useful or good campaign message will be development. All right. So you would say that this constituency needs development, and that if you should take an opposition MP, he may suffer in lobbying, but if you take me, a government MP, I may not suffer much to get the needed development you need to you, even though in many instances it has turned out not to materialize the way it gets promised.
No, my question was that you said the effect will be a big deal. And I'm asking that this is not a constituency that is for the ruling party. So if they go there to try to annex it and they don't get it, why should it be a big deal?
We are here. You would see the feedback that would come if NDC should lose. If NDC should lose, what it means is that all the promises that they are telling them now are things that people do not trust. Because if they do trust in the promises, you are in government and you are in the best position to deliver on the promises you are giving us. If we still turn you down, what it means is that we do not trust the promises you are giving us. Of course, it will also mean that the other party, the NPP, has done its homework well, and they've now been able to sell a very winnable campaign message and all those things. So it's plus or minus, but to the government, it's not going to be that of, no big deal.
Okay. Can I get a quick comment on this from you so we can conclude on this subject? I'll get my guests to also say a word about that. There have been proposals championed by persons like Professor H. Prempe, who is currently chairing the Constitution Review Committee work. I think Professor Kweku Asare is also one who supports that view. There are others who also say it's a good thing to do. Do you support this proposition or not? That when there is a situation like death or something like this for an MP, the party that holds the seat should simply be allowed to nominate a person to replace their MP rather than go through an election?
Something 200%. 200%. I mean, if it's
200% in support, okay.
In support, yes, in support. It fits into our traditional system where we have some special respect for the dead. And you see what NPP have done in Tamale North. It doesn't mean they won't be competing for Tamale North, Tamale Central ever. But what it means is that under the circumstances, they wouldn't want to compete.
But some will say that may be a different, kettle of fish. When the parties say I'm not contesting, sometimes they are afraid of something. They know that it's just not doable, and so they don't have to waste their resources. particularly if you are an opposition party.